well we got? Our audio levels. Ooh, I am very quiet. Hang on, let's remedy that. Hang on. Okay, that should be better. Can you tell I haven't done this in over a week? And give you guys something to listen to. Hey, Grave Warden. Okay. We're good now. How are you this evening? How about paint? You know, was eating sandwiches and playing cards or something like that. That's fine. He can be a loser somewhere else. Not watching me. I see where his loyalties lie. $36. Exactly. Speaking of boxes, I am in the process. What am I working on? So this is a kit bash of a Mark 6 jump pack Marine that I've converted to Chaos. So this entire box I have converted to Chaos to go in one of my Chaos armies. So this is the Fervent Storm. Also, your Ravener looks sick as hell. Just putting that out there. Hey, Matt. Eating tacos? Typing? Well, don't strain yourself. So I'm actually on the fence about buying another box right now because I kind of want to do some guard models because I've done a ton of chaos and I've done a ton of loyalists. I've done some orcs, and one mid. But I'm wanting to do some guard for my homebrew because there is a guard regiment in one of my homebrew conflicts. And I was going to try to get something to visualize them. And I have an idea of what I want, but I'm not sure if I should just get some Acadian shock troops and kit bash them, or if I should get some Krieg and kit bash them. Hey, Gino. Watching the Phillies game with my best friend for opening day. Played Mario Tennis. I'm playing Daggerheart in a couple minutes. Stupid laptop is making my room. Making your room hot? It sounds like you need a better cooling system. Eating sandwiches and playing cards. You weren't wrong. Hi, Melodis. Summoned by talk. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I should buy some Krieg to give them like the trench coat aesthetic, or if I should just get Cadians and give them standard issue equipment. I will be buying some heads to use that are not the GW guard heads. But other than that, I am unsure. Wait for those new Steel Legion. You know, what's up with that? I should do Krieg. See, if I did Krieg, it would just be for the trench coats. Because of the head swaps that I'm going to be doing. I just realized my lighting is not very good. Getting the Red Terror if I have to fistfight a child for it. Understandable. Let's make this a little brighter. Bring up the exposure just a little bit. That's better. Way better. Cool. And the focus should be about right there. Okay. So much better. New orcs don't end up undercutting my attempts to sell off the freebooters. Yeah, so I wasn't watching the live, but was the model that they showed on the preview the only one that they revealed? because I really just got all my information after the fact. Said all boys were now Slugga, Choppa, and Shooter loadouts. Does that know what they are already? Ravener Wrecker was my favorite one to do, but he's got a split jaw. Only the one from the starter box revealed an Orc war boss on a bike. I didn't see that. All three at the same time with no more specialization. Oh, the same. That's going to make arming your models a little interesting. Okay. I mean, I got this boy right here ready to go. He's going to be next to be painted. And he's just got the Shooter and the Choppa. Gotta do that too. Another busy weekend coming up, so no painting for me again, it seems. Hey, Threads. No painting again. That's all right. I haven't had hardly any time to paint here in the last several months. It's kind of been grueling. I feel like I'm really behind. Which I am. But I also dedicated a ton of time to the Great Unclean one. Which I feel like justifies it. Because he's probably, he and Vastor, probably my favorite models I've ever painted. As far as the outcome goes. Watch the train wreck that was the reveal. I did not. I picked up everything after the fact, but I wasn't there for it live. I said it in the patron chat last night, but I'm really surprised that they went with Blood Angels and not Templars. I kind of assumed. I mean, my other assumption would be, we kind of touched on this a little bit, that they would be salamanders. The fact that it was Blood Angels was a little shocking. Not in a bad way, because it means I get more Blood Angel models for the Angels of Sorrow, but it's unexpected. Okay, I am seeing a couple things I need to touch up. It was a tough watch. If you want to relive the event, head on or to check out. Third time you changed channel name. And watch the VOD on the live tab. I may actually do that, honestly. Because I did kind of feel like I was missing out on the discussion. Also, yeah, Maldius, I know you asked me last night, but anytime anyone wants to get together and do anything, jump in the voice channel. I don't care if you want to stream something, if you just want to hang out. That's why I put them there. If I was home, I probably would have jumped in myself. Had to turn it off. The issues with the audio was driving me crazy. Hi, Dentry. Audio was terrible. It wasn't a good stream. Feel free to ignore it. Warden was on, so that's cool. Played Guitar Hero in a board game. Was trying to swing deals on scanners. Work. Overall success. Oh, you guys had a lot of fun? But I was over here adulting. That is what I was doing. I was adulting last night. Listen to you make fun of GW. Hey, no worries. I'll be here for a couple hours at least. Make this war boss as green as possible. Not having children is showing. Yeah. That is usually how it goes. Children kind of dominate everything. Not that I'm complaining, because I do enjoy being a dad, but it is quite time consuming. Cousin just became a dad last night? That's awesome. It's for me. Microplastics got me. I dodged that bullet. Alright, I need to do a couple touch-ups. And then we'll go in for our decorative silvers. I don't even know if you can call it a touch-up. I just missed its trigger finger. And there I got it. This laptop is going to kill me if it doesn't start doing its thing here soon. Workplace hardware sucks. And then touch up the edges of its jump pack thrusters. Hey, Storm. Finally getting a PC. Very nice. Hey, I see you're on Twitch. Does that mean you got your account back? Because last I heard, you lost it. Finally play DDO. Yeah, Raincloud and I kind of gave up on DDO. It was fun. It was fun to banter with, and the community was really cool, but it just got really repetitive. And it was very difficult to keep track of what was going on. Got your account recovered. Very nice. Especially in like the story, because it didn't actually have a set story. It was do this 15-minute quest and then be done. And it just so happens to be in the D&D universe. Kick is better in your case. You have subs on Kick? Very nice. I've contemplated Kick and I haven't made the move over. Because I haven't done an experiment to see how lucrative it would be. But I do know that pretty much everyone is moving over there. And Twitch is probably going to hear me talking about it and ban my account. Automatically stream at 1080. Well, on Twitch you do too, unless you have like super compressed internet. 95% of income? Do you have income? Just have to be careful with Kick. That's where the scum live. Yeah. Yeah. Finish my new favorite game for 2026. Metal Hellsinger? Not familiar. I've kind of been out of the gaming space for the last month or two. So I don't know what's going on out there. My game of 2026 was Expedition 33, but that's only because I didn't play it until 2026. But yeah, I do know that Kick, as far as who it's ran by, it functions a little better than Twitch. But the user base, I can't speak on because I really don't have a Kick community. And I don't really use it. Not that I really use Twitch either, but I know plenty of streamers that I follow who have gone over. It's a rhythm FPS. It's half demon, half demon face. It's all of hell while listening to heavy metal music. Intriguing. I will say the definition of heavy metal music is very subjective. Because what I consider heavy metal is very different from what someone else might consider heavy metal. Okay. Masterpiece. Only a 4-hour game. Wow. It's almost as long as Space Marine 2. That reminds me. So, question for those of you. I feel like we've had this conversation before, and so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. Do we think that Space Marine 3 is going to follow Titus? Or do we think it's going to end up following another character in a different chapter? Because since Titus is captain now, again, and he's got the whole 500 worlds thing going on, is he too important for a game like Space Marine 3? I did hear that they have a lot of operations now, and I haven't been on in a long time. So maybe I should get on and play them. Alright, see you, Gino. Titus might be caught up in the 500 worlds. So, do we think that Space Marine 3 is going to be Ultramarines and Necrons? I just don't feel like Titus is a protagonistic character now that he's second captain. Because in Space Marine 1, he was second captain, but he didn't really hold that much weight as a character, because I don't know if second captain was really defined when that game came out. Space Marine 3 definitely going to follow someone new. Someone else from a different chapter. I like the games, but I'm not a huge Ultramarines fan. I'm not either. Get rid of 40k blueberries. I don't really care if the entire chapter gets wiped out. Their successors are great. I love Ultramarine successors. And I like 40k Gilliman. I like 40k Gilliman better than 30k Gilliman. But the Ultramarines just need to stop. But with 11th edition and the new chapter being Blood Angels, I am a little afraid that Blood Angels are going to be the new Ultramarines. What side of the rift is Armageddon on? Is it in Imperium Nihilus? That would make sense. Play the new Darktide extraction game mode. I haven't been on Darktide for a minute either. My favorite Ultramarine successor is Iron Snakes. Either that or I mean, Emperor Spears are cool. It's Imperium vanilla, not chocolate. Marines Malevolent. They're not sculpted as Blood Marines. You can paint them however. I know, but I'm saying as the key faction, the key Space Marine faction for Armageddon. If I get the box, I'm definitely going to be painting it as one of my chapters. So, I want to paint the skin before I do a wash. Oh, I need to do the trim. Plasma gun too. Can't be without that. Skull too. And Blood Angels have always been up there in the big four. Most played Army in 10th. Played 10 Blood Angels players out of 60. That's intense. You're here but can't listen? But don't you want to listen to my succulent voice? Because they all definitely do. If she's not listening, I can say whatever I want. Okay. So let me guess. The big four are Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Templars, and either Imperial Fists or Salamanders. Those are my guests. Yes. Yes. Oh, hey, welcome to the Discord, Gentry. So I need to figure out what I want to do with this flesh. I want it to be gray-ish, slightly necrotic. If I take some Vallejo basic skin tone And maybe I throw a little bit of sky gray in it. Or maybe if I make that the highlight. So if I make the sky gray the skin tone, and then do a little bit of a highlight on top of that. Oh, I'm way off. Dark Angels and Wolves. That makes sense. And those, there are only a few Templars and fewer fists. Commanders are equal to Templars. Post Templars getting a Codex. Apparently they have something to do with Yarick returning. Which I still have not watched that cinematic because there was a request for me to do a reaction to it. And I haven't done it yet. Another in your community. I see. See minis in... Yes, my Discord is quite the community. And I'm very happy with it. Yeah, we're a cool bunch, right? I think we're cool. I appreciate that. I find humor in that. That needs to be thinned down significantly. It's probably going to take a couple coats. Yeah, so since you are new here, a little bit of introduction about myself and my love of Warhammer. My favorite aspect about Warhammer is the homebrew and the ability to create your own thing within the universe. So every model, every army I have is a homebrew of some sort. The only thing I have that could be considered remotely canon is probably my Death Watch. So I write my own lore for them in the universe. That actually looks really good by itself. I may add a little bit of a fleshy highlight. I don't know if it's necessary. Yeah, everything I have is homebrew. I dive into both the actual lore and my homebrew lore. I have lots and lots of Google Docs, breakdown for the different factions. I do things for the current conflicts that they're in. So yeah, anytime that I get to create something in universe, I jump on it. Don't mod much other than your Death Guard. Well, and I have Death Guard too, but they're not just Death Guard. They are World Eater Death Guard. So there are world eaters who, some are strictly for Khorne, and then some are corrupted by Nurgle. All of them are kind of infected by Nurgle, but only some of them acknowledge him. Right, let's see. Actually, doesn't look that bad. Pretty good, if I'm being totally honest. I had a family emergency last night, so all of my plans got thrown into chaos. That sucks. Do you use the unwritten erase Primarchs for that? I have not. You can. It's totally a thing you can do. So, I mean, successor chapters are really easy to homebrew because you can do whatever with any. So I have a Blood Angel successor who are technically a Lamentor successor because their gene seed is derived from the Lamentors, and a successor chapter was spawned off from them. But they are Blood Angels at heart. And I have an Imperial Fist successor. I have a Dark Angel successor. These guys here are actually were a chimeric chapter of both Salamanders and Iron Warriors gene seed. But through some of their turmoil, they fell to chaos, and now they are fully in service to Vashtor. So, definitely got interesting. So yeah. And then my other chaos is the Putrid Maw, who are world eaters who have also been corrupted by Nurgle. Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. And then I've got some Deathwatch here that I have yet to prime. Trying to get all of my models together before I prime anything. Oh, did I show you guys this? I don't think I did. I sent a picture of the patrons, but I haven't shown anybody on stream. I was modeling this the other day, and it's a sorcerer for the Putrid Maw. And he's actually going to be the sorcerer who is responsible for why the Putrid Maw became the Putrid Maw. So, yeah, I'm proud of him. Okay. Are we ready for Millennial Oil? Going to say yes. Nope. I need one more skull. Warden, I was meaning to ask you this. How often do you stream? Because I actually just followed your channel a couple days ago. It was literally like right before we were all in Malidus' stream. Like the day of. once that dries, we will be ready for our wash. And for the eyes, he has eye lenses and they're round and menacing, and I'm tempted to do the same thing that I did with Vastor, but they might be too small. We'll see. I might just make them red like the rest of the warband. And I have not transferred any of my Citadel paints over yet. It's something I need to do probably pretty quickly before the Citadel pots end up destroying all of the paints I have. Sorry, I am not keeping up. Looking at the red terror box, and I needed name my child ice cream and sugar. Sounds like she's gonna become your problem. Speaking of streaming, I was thinking of maybe doing this time next week for some more orcs. I feel like it'll give me motivation to finish as much as possible. I'd be down. I should be around. Set up for a co-op game mode. 2 players take control of a 5-man unit. So 10 models controlled by 2 players versus the Red Terror and some Gaunts. So I wasn't really paying any attention. Is it a different game mode? Because I thought it was just Kill Team. Basically Warhammer version of D&D style games. Ah. See, I like that. Anything that incentivizes RP, quote unquote. all the rest of the plasma gun. Alright, and now other than the base, we have the claws, the plasma, and the eyes. So while we're waiting on that, anything anybody wants to chat about? Anything? I would say we could do a live react to the Yarrick trailer, but that would require me moving my camera, and I don't really want to do that. Calling it Nemesis Operatives. Red Terror has 9 joint op missions. Interesting. Considering I don't really play Warhammer, it sounds cool, but I would likely never actually get into it. I'm really more of a collector, a modeler, painter, and a writer. Planning on doing a Patreon at 100 subs and starting a community army. Even starting setting the milestone goals. I approve. I would probably do something very similar, but I don't have the time. Unless you all could help me with my guard army. If my ADHD will allow for that. The mission book they're releasing is adding rules for you to make your own Nemesis operative. For example, is a group of orcs against a dreadnought. It's in 7th or 8th. I have played, and it's documented, it's here on the channel somewhere. One game of 2021 Kill Team. It's 21 or 22. I forget now. It was the last edition of Kill Team. And that was it. That's the most Warhammer I've ever actually gotten to play. I have all the stuff to play it, but I've never done it. Because the one person who I could play it with is very difficult to get a hold of. Tentry is a god tier painter? Alright, I gotta see this. I see you're posting in the Discord. Holy bejesus, that looks good. Very good. What paints do you use? If I were guessing, I'd say Citadel. Just by looking. No. The idea would be people would get to vote on a super faction, and faction and people send in army concepts, and I choose a few finalists, which people vote on, and then send in paint schemes that also get inspected and voted on. High tier patrons would get to be the various characters or choose squads. That's sick. Humble God 2, I guess. I feel that. How many subs are you at now, Malodus? Citadel and Warpaints. Like 30? That's still decent growth. How long have you been doing it now? Since the beginning of the year, right? I even have a few from Walmart. Hey, I do too. And I use them. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for the bases for these guys. Start posting more once I finish school. I feel that I need to get back into the shorts game. Yeah. I gained so many subs whenever I did the Hell's Reach reaction with Raincloud.
Yeah.
So many subs. It was kind of insane. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to show you guys. I showed you guys him. I'm kind of proud of his base. I don't know how it's going to look whenever I get it all painted. But yeah, he's sick. It's where I started painting in the 80s, D&D minis. I started on D&D minis too. And then I really started diving into it whenever I got into Warhammer. Well, since we have someone new here, I'll show you my 3 favorite models that I've ever painted. You like the toothpicks? I just wanted something a little extra. And I felt like that was sufficient. Alright, we will go from least favorite to most favorite out of my 3 favorite models I've ever painted. Alright, so here's my Contemptor Dreadnought. And these are just the weapons that I happen to have equipped to him. All the weapons are magnetized. But he's pretty dope, and he's in this army. So the Fervent Storm utilizes him. In my canon, in my lore, his name is Osmodai. So, yeah. Next would be the Great Unclean One. Too big for the camera. But I'm really, really super duper proud. Magnets. Super proud of how he turned out. Spent a lot of hours on him, but it was worth it. Because he is dope. But yeah. And then my absolute most favorite, and if you guys have been watching my shorts, you would see him, but it's Vashdor. He's just sick. He's awesome. Still need one of them. The Great Unclean One. He's fantastic. His name is Festerax, and he's actually a pseudo-patron of my warband, the Putrid Maw, which I can show you a couple of their models too. But he was so much fun to do. Yeah, Vastor is... I was so happy with him. I mean, I personally feel like I nailed the glow, and it was all just kind of guesswork. Like, I knew the technique, and I had never done it this way before with the gradient glow, from like going from lightest to darkest. And I did it, and I did it perfectly. And he's the patron of the Fervent Storm, because when they fell to chaos, since they're Iron Warriors at heart, they went to Perturabo, and Perturabo was like, no, you guys aren't really my sons. And they were like, oh, but Dad. So they left, dejected, and found by Vastor. And Vastor was like, hey, you want to work for me? And they were like, yeah. So now they are one of Vastor's cogs. So, yeah, those are the three models I'm most proud of. Let's see. Oh, to the island of misfit toys with them. Precisely. Here's a few of the Putrid Maw, just some random models. Here's a Plague Marine that I finished not that long ago. So, a World Eater that did serve strictly Khorne, and then they got corrupted. And now, they serve Nurgle and Khorne. Here's a Raptor that I did for them. And then this is my Master of Executions kit bash. Pretty proud of him. And this is their Chaos Lord. Vidgis Hror is his name. I've actually contemplated stripping him and starting over, because this was one of my very first techniques of painting him in the Grimdark effect, and I've drastically improved my method. And so I've thought about starting over, but I haven't. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was really proud of him. Because I didn't want to make a traditional Death Guard army, but Death Guard models are sick. So I got this. He was cheap. I got him on sale for like 15 bucks. It's the Foul Blightspawn? Blightbringer? I don't remember now. I can't keep track of Death Guard units. But I bought him, I built him, and then I kit bashed him. And he felt appropriate to be a master of execution since I slapped the axe on him, and now it's just a giant cleaver. And he's bloated and disgusting too. So there's the Nurgle elements and the Khorne elements, since they serve both. And then for this guy, since he is a sorcerer and Khorne hates sorcerers, in the lore, I'm trying to finagle how exactly to make that work. And my ultimate conclusion was he disappeared before the World Eaters were corrupted by Khorne. Like during the heresy, or before the heresy, so like during the Great Crusade. And was corrupted by Nurgle. So I'm going to be painting him in the heresy era World Eater scheme. And then he mysteriously returned to this particular warband of World Eaters and then slowly infected them with the rot. Or the bone spores, which are these little fungal growths. And he would actually... His direct patron is the Great Unclean One that I showed you. Festerax. So, yeah. If you got a second, could you take a look at Orctimus? Kind of wish I went for my regular green. Somehow the Khorne Sorcerer returned. Are you talking about the one that you put in there earlier? Oh, I see him now. More green? I'm assuming he's a Death Skull, considering blue is kind of the dominant color. I think there's plenty of green. I think he looks good. Ooh, that Mortarion, though. Very nice. See, I wish I could get a Mortarion, but I can't because these guys are Sons of Angron. And I have them listed as regular CSM, so I can do both Khorne and Nurgle things with them. Like how I make my own lore? That's all I do. Literally all I do. Because if you stick to... If you know the universe well enough, which I will never claim to do, but I will do my damnedest, then I can make something satisfying and something that feels like it's my own, but also not something super ridiculous. Use blue for my freebooters. It's actually an ex-Goth. Meant I usually go for a more desaturated green for my... Oh, I see. Yeah, he could be... Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, the green isn't very standout-ish. I still think he looks good, though. Another thing I have noticed about phone cameras is they change the way your eyes perceive the coloring of the model. So that could totally change things, too. As far as making lore, that's my favorite aspect of pretty much any universe, is being able to make something within that universe that is your own. But once I discovered Warhammer, I fell in love with it. And I never wanted to look back. Hi, plebeian. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Alright, I think he's dry. I think we're ready. Exocrine or Tyrannofax? Exocrine. iOS cameras love to make your lighting, indoor lighting, look like a sepia nightmare. Precisely. Like, I have to go in and fix everything whenever I do a short. Alright, let's do the eyes first. I am working on a Raptors kit batch from a Mark 6 Marine. That is not a very good eye job, but it'll work. Yeah, that's on my table this evening, and when I finish him, probably won't be tonight, but up next, I got a boy that needs to be painted. I got a lot of boys that need to be painted, but as I always say, follow the dopamine. Because the ADHD rules all. What adjustments do you make? So the number one adjustment is I take down the brightness. And if need be, I boost the contrast. Because the brightness is what desaturates the colors of your models. And it's always defaulted way too high. So if you take it down, probably between 25 and 50% from where it's at, then usually that helps significantly. And if need be, if it's still too washed, then boost your contrast just a little bit. Before I mention the pile of shame I have left to assemble, a lictor and a Trigon Swarm Lord, Winged Hive Tyrant are primed. Working on making your second Space Marine chapter. Very nice. What chapter? Winter and effects. I chose poorly. We do love our Space Marines. Well, I do. I was thinking about that today. Oh, what was I doing? Oh, I was consuming some Necromunda lore. And they were giving me a bunch of like the gangs and like the history of it. But I was really only paying attention when the Imperial Fists were brought up. You have a Clarence? I'm not following. You'll have to educate me. Ah, Malstrain Jade Stealers. Want an extra can to bring to the local store. And like, hey, I have a legal one. Can I use Clarence? I see. See, of all 40k armies that I really have no interest in, Gene Stealers are one of them. I don't know if it's just the aesthetic or the fact that I'm not a giant fan of NIDs. I respect NIDs, and I have some NIDs, and I've homebrewed some NIDs, and I really need to keep painting my NIDs because I have 19 termagants over there that need to be painted. But yeah, Gene Stealers just don't really grab my attention. Right up there with Votan. I don't really have an interest in Votan. I feel like, and this is just my opinion, I feel like Votan were just an excuse to make everyone think about squats again. But like I said, just my opinion. Because people were very upset that squats were removed. That's good enough. Gene Stealer Cult is kind of meh. Let's see. I already have one made. They were not animal themed. It's my biggest unfinished army. When they did the Grimdark Gene Stealer cover art for 9th alone, made me love Gene Stealers. Too bad they've only played well in 8th, and GW forgot how to write a gorilla faction. Bug Dinosaur, how can you not like them? Nids I'm okay with. It's just not Gene Stealers. I'm speaking specifically for Gene Stealer Cults. Tyranids in general, I'm okay with. But I just don't really vibe with Gene Stealer Cults. Okay. Should I go in for the plasma or go in for the claws? Oh, I suppose I'm going to go for the plasma. I'm going to try a little bit of OSL. A little bit. Not enough to make a huge difference. It's not going to make any difference at all. Completely agree. The only Gene Stealer I like is the Patriarch. All of them kind of look lame. Get me started on Gene Stealer cults. I do think it's cool that you can run some guard units in Gene Stealers, because that seems lore accurate. But as far as like the lore of the Gene Stealers and the models, they're just not that interesting to me. This is very subtle OSL. I don't think I've ever done any of this subtle before. But we're going to see how it works out. It may be terrible, but we shall see. It sucks. The only Gene Stealer model I like come from Gene Stealer Cult Box. Lore kind of cool. Models are gross. Not in a Nurgle kind of way. Nurgle is cool gross. Nurgle was gross before gross was cool. That's why he's the grandpa. Sorry, that was dumb. I apologize. I'm also very Nurgle pilled right now because I'm reading Dark Imperium. That's kind of why I have done so much work on the Putrid Maw recently. Because I'm reading that and I'm just following where the ADHD leads. Have you tried second type site like Warpfire to pick up singles? I have not. I'm aware of Warpfire. We had a discussion a long time ago about Warpfire. Speaking of Nurgle, that reminds me, when I mentioned my pancreas, you said you thought it was a pancreas no work joke. Pancreas genuinely doesn't work. Well, that's unfortunate. So kind of Nurgle pilled, because sickness dulling me to pain and all that cringe. Yeah, Rusty was supposed to try him out. We don't know what happened. Go for Warden for his model he's looking for. Ah. While I'm waiting for that to dry, go ahead and do the close. The way I do my claws now, didn't used to do it this way, but I do it now. It's super simple. No, I don't have ghosts. The door just opened. And it's extremely windy, so we just equalized air pressure. Windy.
The trash can's all over the place.
Ah.
And I can't pick it up. Could you come help?
Yeah, give me a second. Okay. All right. We go beyond cleanup duty. I will be back. Okay, I'm back. What did I miss? Nothing, apparently. Okay. Whew. It is very windy. In case anyone was wondering. Harshly judged for your minor spell. Dusting off your copy of the Imperial Fist comp. You know how to get my goat. You know what? It's fine now because I got the Dawn of War box. I can let it go. I can be the bigger person. Party has arrived. We were already partying. The wind did, in fact, take a trash can. So just probably don't even get that one. Don't make me pull up to Barnes & Noble in a huff. Barnes & Noble doesn't even carry it anymore. They do carry the Kill Team Beginner set, though. If you so happen to want a captain and three regular intercessors and a Gravis intercessor. If that's something that interests you. Partying is your Friday night? I wish this was my Friday night. This week feels like it's been dragging on forever. And I am just ready for it to be over. You mentioned Red Terror's existence. Rough for you two? I don't know what it was. Or is. Because it's only Thursday. But ever since I went to work on Monday, it's just been dragging on and on and on. We'll do one more layer. models to paint. You know, I've been trying. It has not been going well. Couldn't be me. My week was splendid. Up yours too, Melodus. Sorry, is that hostile? Ever paint your gaunts? No one but me paints my bugs. See, I have a scheme for them, and I have lore for them because they're currently in a conflict with my Dark Angel successor. I just haven't taken the time to paint them. Is he watching on Twitch? Yes, he is. I am also live on Twitch. I like to spread the love a little bit. The chat responds just a little bit faster in Twitch for some reason. A little bit. It's like a whole 20 seconds faster. But YouTube is kind of where the community started. It's where I started. Twitch so I can do low latency bullying. And you do it oh so well. After a stream with you in the chat, I feel properly bullied. I like how chat has turned into a debate how to bully me more efficiently. OSL's not great, but it's sufficient. So now we dry brush some white on these claws. That was not dry. Okay. No. We wait until the paint dries, and then we dry brush some white on the claws. I just sworn it was dry by now, but apparently not. So we will wait on that method. Meanwhile, bonded over bullying Gino for improved painting speed. From a place of respect and reverence. Okay, and now that was probably a little too much water. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's on fire, but it's fine. Don't want to do too much. Add a little bit of white in here. Bit of glow. It's dry now. Now that it's dry, we can successfully dry brush some white on these claws. And now, are those Walmart brushes? They are. Because I don't like spending money on brushes. And when they go bad, I just go buy some more. But I'll use the same 3 brushes on like 20 models. And it'll be fine. Might use the same ones. Very likely. I buy the variety pack, even though there's like a ton that are way too big for anything that I would do. And then I just pull out the smallest ones. Alright, and now we coat the entire claw in Imperial Fist. And all of the white portions become yellow highlights. And it's great and wonderful and looks pretty sick. I'm gonna use like 3 of them. 2 for dry brushing and 1 for actual painting. I usually use 2 for actual painting, so I use 1 crappy one for the longest, like make it last the longest. And then I pick 1 that has the finest tip, and I only use it for the fine detail. And even this one's starting to get a curl on it, so it's probably gonna have to be retired soon. And then for dry brushes, I've used these forever, and I think they do fine. So for the smaller areas, I use the smaller one, and then for larger areas, I use the bigger one. And those are my dry brushes. Like, even the Sons of Perturabo need Imperial and Checkmate Iron Babies. Finest tip brush I've ever used. There's a pack of 8 for $5. It's pretty great. Time for some properly hydrated red to bring that white highlight for the OSL back down. And now we have a sufficient glow on the plasma. Can't really tell on the camera, but it's a sufficient glow. Pink soap at a crafting shop to clean. Found bigger brushes have finer points. Again, an 8 round, what I use for my eyes and faces. I don't ever really put any detail in my faces because I don't like doing faces, so I may do some highlights. A wash and some highlights, and that's about it. I'm really proud of how this head turned out. It actually turned out exactly how I wanted it to. So that's pretty neat. Did my autofocus turn back on? Maybe? I don't know. So I think he's done. I just gotta do the base now. I gotta decide how I want to do the base, because most bases that I do are just brown. Just some soil and rock. And I try to do it for planets that they would be on in their current status. So right now the Fervent Storm is at war in the Alperan system, in the conflict creatively dubbed the Alperan War, against my Angels of Sorrow. And I've been basing them. I mean, the basic brown would be okay because they're on Gardor, which is the planet that they are both
10
on.
minutes is a long time to be away from you.
I may just do that because it's safe. It doesn't really involve a lot of work. Maybe. No other ideas are really coming to mind. Always paint me lads on wooden bases so they always look like they'd be walking the plank. Yeah, I'll just do the brown. That's what I usually do. So I come in for the base coat, I use Vallejo Flat Earth. And then I go over it with Agrax for a wash, and then I dry brush Iraqi sand. That's usually how that works for most of my bases. I did try lava bases once, but I didn't prep these for lava bases. So we're not going to do that. So yeah, these usually just end up being dirty mud bases. Good. How did I do that? I could copy my Vastor base. That would be kind of neat. I may do that. Because what I did with that... Well, this undercoat was still wet. Here and there, threw in some very watered down olive green. It's not a sufficient shake. Full screen, forgot to top up. Well, thank you. So moving on to record some shorts. Very nice. Very nice. I will probably like them as soon as you post them, because as soon as I get a notification that you posted a short, I jump over to it, I watch it for a few seconds, and then I hit like. And that's just how that works. Because most of the time I do like it. I like your blade guard that you posted today. Is that today or yesterday? My days are blending together. All right, now I'm going to continue painting the rock. was today. What about your shorts? Well, since I just subscribed, the Ravener was the first one I saw, and I did like it. I have not gone through your shorts feed, although I should. I did see some Space Wolves in there. The latency bully is better. Yeah, of course. I will always like the things from people in my community. Unless it's on TikTok, because I'm terrible about liking things on TikTok. So I don't even use my TikTok, like, recreationally. I use it to post old shorts. And that's it. But I think I've got over like 200 followers on it now. Which is insane, because I've only been doing it for a couple months. And I don't even have that many videos. Get partnered on Twitch so I can give you a Prime sub. I'll get right on that. You could go to my Patreon. That's where all the elites hang out. Right, Malodus? Take Amazon's $250. I just tell my patrons to have low expectations because I don't have a ton of time to do anything spectacular. There's just a few minor perks over there, such as access to special channels on the Discord. At higher tiers, you can submit a model and I'll review it on stream. At the highest tier, you can join me on stream. And we can hang out or paint together or whatever. And if you are at all into the creative writing aspect for Warhammer, not even just homebrews, but Warhammer in general, we do have a collaborative campaign that we really ought to like start storyboarding, because we've had it forever and we have what it is, but we haven't actually done any story stuff with it. You reminded me of that the other day, Malodus. Okay. Wait for the base to dry. and then wash, and then dry brush. Forgot why I watch on YouTube. Twitch won't run the stream in the background. It won't? Interesting. Mine does. Tell my patrons to expect to be disappointed. What I do. Set the bar low, then you can really surprise them when it's even worse than just a disappointment. Precisely. You know the game. I'm actually going to pull Vashtor back out. I want to double check how I did his base. Alright, so. Yep, did all that. The green, and then the dry brush. Actually, dry brush gray over these rocks. I should have just done Iraqi sand over the whole thing. It's fine. Pairing bases, indeed. That is how you know you are doing it right. Ah, I just saw the Orctimus Prime post Malleus. I think he looks sick. Eight bases. I do them sometimes, but also yuck. I love doing bases. Because for me, it's you're telling a story with them and you're creating a mini diorama. But that's just me. Now these guys, their base is a different color. I'll actually show you. They are currently in conflict with my Imperial Fist successor. So they are in the midst of the Tannine Crusade. And they are on the desert world of... It's an armory world of Sotellum. This is what their bases end up looking like. It's very deserty. Some stuff. I do like my orcs. I should paint my orcs more. But if I paint my orcs more, that means I need to paint my Terminus Knights more. Speaking of, these are the Terminus Knights. So they're my Imperial Fist successor. you can see that in me. I do make it blatantly obvious. So yeah, this is my Imperial Fist successor. They are like if Dark Angels and Black Templars had a baby. They are not Codex compliant. The way their squads are structured, they are. But instead of 10 companies, they have 3 houses. And they have 3 captains who can take command over any of the houses. And this is one of those captains, Captain Yavitz. Can't speak. The house that I'm painting is House Shul, which is one of the 3. Hi, cat. What do you want? But yeah, they come from a mining death world. He thinks he's hungry. They come from a mining death world who was enslaved by the Drukhari, and then they had a revolt and beat back the Drukhari and formed into their defense force formed into knightly houses. So instead of like Imperial Knights, they just formed into these Knights of the Round Table houses. And then those houses were later on adapted by the High Lords to become Space Marine chapter. Not necessarily, because they would rather they were Codex compliant, but you know what I mean. But yes, they are currently doing war with my orcs. Yes. Which house is House Beesbury and how do I join? Super lazy on my bases because I've done 80 in 3 months, which is insane. I do not have the capacity for that. Gonna let them all out and take a photo for a progress shot. Almost like Imperial Knight houses. Pretty close. It's if Imperial Knights became Space Marines. Everything is getting destroyed. So when they became a Space Marine chapter, they kind of adapted their knightly culture to be the chapter. That's how that works. See if I can find my first Templar Crusades family trees. It's some long-running Crusade League back in 9th. Hey, cut that out. settle a feud. Feud is temporarily settled. 2 nights I got as a box. I didn't know much about the lore, so I thought if my ex was playing her Space Wolves, if she had a knight, it would be Space Wolves years ago. So it's painted that way. Interesting. So it has a Space Wolf scheme? I kind of like that. I would like a knight too, so I can homebrew some knights. But that may be long down the road. It's like I said, I'm probably going to be getting some guard here in the near future, and I just gotta figure out how I want to do them. Just to start out, I still can't decide if I want to do a Krieg box, Acadian box, because I have the heads I want to use. I don't have them, but I'm going to order them. And then once I do that, I gotta figure out if I want trench coats or if I just want standard flak armor. Try and drop it in the Discord somewhere. Go for it. I would like to see it. Okay, so now I gotta wait on this to dry. Speed up the process a little bit. I have a desk fan over here that I use sometimes. Speed up drying models. Not the heads you were asking about, right? No, not the ones you used. There's some that I found on Etsy that I'm probably going to end up buying to give a unique aesthetic to my guard, which I want because I'm homebrewing the Alperan 104th. And I'd like them not just to look like Cadians or Krieg. So I'll end up building Cadians or Krieg and just do a head swap. But I also want to build a character unit and put him on a horse. And the only way for you to understand why is because the heads that I'm buying are conquistador heads. So they have the conquistador helmets. And I want to put those on them. And I want to make a character be basically Don Quixote. And I want it only makes sense if I put him on a horse. Grim darkness of the far future. It is drip or drown. Faceplant those trench coats. We will float. But yeah, I figured since they are guard from a lore aspect strictly, you have the 104th in their home system of Alperan, which is currently under chaos invasion. And then I can throw them in my other conflicts too. So say like the Alperan 25th can be over in the Tannine Crusade, and for the Youthar cleansing, which is the other one that I'm doing, which is a Tyranid invasion, that is also it's coupled with some chaos stuff, but it's not quite that. It gets complicated, but it's against the Totem Lords, which are a homebrew chapter, and the Reliquary Brotherhood, which are my Dark Angel successor. But I can throw, say, the Alperan, think of a random number, 78th. So, yeah, that's my idea, just to spread them out a little bit so I can have some guard regiments that aren't necessarily canon. Because the trouble with going canon, using canon factions in your homebrews, is you have a very strict, a very strict building block to adhere to, because it's something that's already established. So that's why I don't really do a whole lot of including canon factions unless it's very vague with their inclusion. Funnily enough, I was actually going to do a Black Company themed Imperial Guard army. Printed a digital kit bash of a conquistador with helmets with my Maccabean Janissary death masks. Still probably do that army one day. People call it really cool. I call it playing Fashion Souls instead of Dark Souls. Wild idea. Would you write lore based off outcomes of games based on your lore? I would. If I had someone to play with, preferably if they had their own army. But because I have neither of those things, I just kind of do everything myself. So since I supply all my own armies and factions and homebrews, I just kind of write the story, write the premise, make a logistical document of all of the factions involved, the planets that are under conflict, and some rough numbers estimates. And then for the specific factions, the specific homebrew factions themselves, I have breakdown docs of those too, especially Space Marines. They're really easy because all you have to do is go on the wiki and you look up different Space Marine chapters, and then you take the headings for each descriptor. You take those headings and then throw them into the doc, and then you fill out your own section. That simple. So that's kind of how I do all that. Tabletop simulator with fans could solve the no play issue. It could. I have tried GTS and I hated it. It was not an enjoyable experience, especially since I started to put my Angels of Sorrow army in it and there were no Stern Guard veterans. Like, they just didn't exist for Blood Angels. And so I was just, if I can't put my army in, then I'm not really concerned about it. But I also don't really have a ton of time to learn the game in my daily life. So, for the time being, I'm going to be a collector, a hobbyer, a writer, and a lore sponge. Specifically, people who participate in homebrew. Yeah, if I had the time for that too. Most of the time, any free time I have is spent right here. And any other free time is spent sleeping, because I don't do enough of that It's kind of a problem. Yeah, so I just don't really mess with it. But the capacity for the creative aspect of it is what I like the most. Like, I never would have made these guys if it wasn't for the ability to be able to homebrew something of your own. And I'm not really that concerned about not being able to play the game. I really just like building and painting my toy soldiers and then writing stories about them. I'm a very creative person, in case you couldn't tell. If that wasn't evident. Oh, those knights are sick. The Chaos Knight is great. Come home to paint, YouTube, or game, YouTube. How has it been with the AC out? I'm just watching YouTube. Yeah, my time on a daily basis, it consists of work, being a dad, and then sleep, and then do it all again. Pretty much every day of the week, except for weekends, of course. But my weekends are usually filled with other things that I have to do. All magnetized waist and arms. Very nice. The only thing that I have ever magnetized is that Contemptor Dread, and I don't even have all the weapons painted. They are all magnetized, but they are not all painted. And I paint them pretty haphazard because I want them to look like they were kind of scavenged, so they're kind of all over palette-wise. Yeah, I'm happy with how these that I've painted have turned out too. My sons became teens, got me into this. Well, I'm really hoping that the kid is going to be as creative as I am, because that's going to, one, make my life so much easier, and it's going to make things a lot more fun and interesting. Because if she wants to get into this, absolutely. I will not say no. I feel like I've asked this before. Would you ever sell off an army? I probably not. Because the thing about any of the hobbies that I have, unless it's like improving equipment or something, I have a very emotional attachment to everything that I have. So like all these guitars over here, see them, all these guitars over here, I have a very emotional attachment to every single one of them. Out of all the guitars I've ever owned, I've sold one, and that was because I was upgrading to buy another one. And because I've put so much effort into the lore of these and the ones that I've painted, I've dumped easily hundreds of hours into writing, painting, modeling, not to mention the financial responsibility of it. That I'm very much emotionally attached, and I would likely never get rid of any of them unless it was something that I absolutely didn't care about, like those Necrons I have over there. I do not care about them because I bought them secondhand. They are horribly painted, horribly kit bashed, and I'm never going to be able to do anything with them, so I have no desire to do anything with them. They're just sitting in a box. I would get rid of those. Hey, Rushtiv. They need that mental creativity. What we good they need to do. Yeah, and I hope we get to that point. Because I play D&D too, and I want to do that too. Dads in my store always warn each other about getting kids into it early. But they have boys, so hopefully girls are less inherently destructive. We'll see. No, my precious. I painted my son's orcs. It's hard to give them back. Yeah, and that's Rush to Return of the King. That's also why I don't really want to do commissions, is because I would develop such an emotional attachment to the model that I poured this effort into, and I would just want to keep it. All right, it is time for the dry brush, and then we move on to the rimming the base, and then after rimming the base, we are finished for this evening, for the stream, till next week. Sorry, Rushtiv, you're right at the tail end. I'm almost done here. By the way, Rushtiv is one of the OGs of the channel. I think he was one of the first, right at the very beginning, near the beginning, a few weeks in. Okay. And there we have it. There's the dry brush. You can't really see it, but it's there. Just got approved for graduation, even though I kind of joked on my thesis defense. No worries, just wanted to pop in and show some support. Well, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Rushtiv has kind of a cool guard homebrew too. The Escallion Mountaineers. Which you can see in which channel in the Discord? I gotta look. In the homebrew submissions tab. It's in there. I was around a few weeks before. Were you before? He was the second patron before Rain Cloud. That's right. Early last summer. Your wallet isn't happy. Alright, let's rim the base. I remember that. It turned out pretty okay, though. That was also before I got into Warhammer, so I decided to be broke after that. Chronically broke, that is. Okay. All right, there we go. And he is finished. So we have our first Fervent Storm Raptor. And he's the Raptor champion, so he gets cool weapons. All of the other Raptors are pretty unique, so they'll all be fun to do. I do need to do some lore on him, write his name down, figure out who he is, what he does, why he's here. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna call it there. He looks pretty sick. Might even get a short out of him. So thanks everybody for watching tonight, taking time out of your time. I'll be back hopefully Tuesday, if next week goes better than it did this week, and we will work on whatever I have on my desk, whatever my hyperfixation tells me to do, because that's where we go. If anyone here hasn't joined the Discord yet, please, by all means, go join the Discord, show off your models, ask advice for lore, modeling, join my Patreon, and then get special access to special channels in the Discord. And like I said earlier, joining me on stream at the highest tier, maybe submit a model, maybe join in this collaborative storytelling effort that someday we'll actually get to work on. I'm on Instagram at faceplant104. If you've seen me post stuff over there, I do that on occasion. If I don't for some reason, I will probably like your stuff if you post Warhammer content, because I do that quite frequently. And I think that's it for me. So I will see everybody next week, next Tuesday at 6:30 Central. Yep, see everybody.